If your sexual energy has become a distraction instead of a source of authority, stay with me because by the end of this video, you will see how that same energy can be turned into fuel for your presence. Let me play as a seer here. You are a powerful man, an energetic man, a man who has always had vision, intensity, always had the balls to pursue what he wanted. And you have built a life for yourself. You have earned the respect. You have made the career. Maybe you even have a lovely wife at home, maybe even a couple of good kids. On paper, everything looks good, but somehow it doesn't feel like the payoff that you were hoping. The dragon has been slayed, the princess has been won, the kingdom has been built, but that energy that once moved you upward, that once gave you drive, is no longer moving you in the same way. Instead, it's becoming a distraction. It is pulling your attention away from what's important to you. It's leaking into fantasies, into chasing, into compulsive thinking about sex, woman, novelty, release. And in worst case scenarios, it is not just distracting you, but it's creating destruction in your career, in your marriage, in your focus, in your expansion, in your legacy, because you're simply not putting that energy where you used to. And let me make myself very clear here. This is a safe space. There's no judgment because you really are not alone in this. Being an established man who is now having what I call a second puberty at middle age is far more common than most stallions would like to admit. What is happening underneath is actually very simple. As a boy, all you wanted was connection, love, a girl you could surrender to feel chosen, to feel wanted, to feel close. And in the pursuit of that, that boy learned something very quickly. If you want that girl, if you want that love, then you need to become somebody. You need to work hard. You need to make the money. You need to succeed. So the boy becomes a man, and the man does what he was told to do. He builds, sacrifices, performs, and achieves. And in that process, parts of him get split off, parts of him get buried, parts of him get traded away in exchange for success. And that's okay. However, now at the top of the mountain, that old boy is still there. And he's asking for what he wanted all along, which is what makes him alive: love, intimacy, and connection. And because he's not getting it in the places he thought he would get it, he starts looking for it where it feels most immediate and accessible. In sex, of course. Sex is not just sex. Sex is touch, closeness, validation, sensuality, relief. It is the quickest place a man can feel himself close to something in life. It can feel like connection. It can feel like intimacy. It can feel like a way out of numbness. But it can also become a distraction, escapism, a way of not looking at what is really missing, a way of not feeling the deeper dissatisfaction underneath. And hey, you are a grown man. You can do whatever you want with your life. You can chase women until the day you die. You can choose a hedonistic path if that is what you want. But the question is not about whether you can or can't. The question is about coherence. Is hedonistic distraction, however big or small that is in your life today, is that the most significant choice for you? Is that the most fulfilling choice for you? If we look at quality over quantity, what has been the quality of your relationships over the last 5, 10, 15 years? Has all this leakage actually brought you deeper satisfaction, more truth, more connection, more power? Or has it left you more divided? Because if the quality hasn't been what you've been wanting, then perhaps the problem is not what is in front of you. Perhaps the problem is that you are disconnected from yourself. Perhaps you are using an energetic condom, making it hard to fully feel what's in front of you, hard to meet life with your whole being. And look, if you are skeptical about whether you can actually feel alive again, that's fair enough because what have your options really been? Maybe you have tried traditional talk therapy and it didn't do much for you. Not because it was bad or because the therapist was bad, but because it gave you insight without embodiment. It helped you understand yourself, maybe even name your patterns, but it didn't move the energy in you. Maybe you tried meditation, working out, or a new hobby. Useful, yes, but maybe not enough to meet the core of what is actually alive in you. Maybe you have tried getting inspiration from women. Maybe you have tried sex, validation, flirtation, novelty, affairs, or whatever form of feminine attention has helped you feel more alive for a moment. And maybe that worked for a while. But those connections have eventually shown you that it makes you feel empty. Emptiness that keeps echoing back into your life. My love, I understand why you feel the way you do about all this because you're doing the best you can with the options that have been given to you. The way I see it, you are likely either possessed by your sexual energy like a zombie, reacting to it, obeying it, letting it pull you around, or you are suppressing it, shaming yourself for it. So you oscillate like a pendulum between repression and compulsion, between control and leakage, between discipline and collapse. That is exactly what fragmentation is. It steals your energy and it literally dissipates the power that is already coming from you. But what if there was a different way? A way to consciously engage your sexual energy with intention so it moves you towards real integration, a way to expand your capacity for personal power through the conscious evocation of what turns you on, a path that brings you closer to your truth and gives you more focus, more presence. And then I wonder if you stayed with that path, what would you build? How would you lead then? What would your relationships be like if your sexual energy were no longer leaking into secrecy, but instead available to fuel your expansion and your authority as a man? I ask because these are the questions that will spark the fire that can transform you. What I'm talking about here is psychosexual integrative therapy. And in case you don't know who I am Shell, who created this practice from both my background in psychology and in the sexual arts. The reason why combining a man's sexual energy with his psychological growth has shown us such great results is because the concept is grounded in three irrefutable principles. Men do not change through talk alone. They need the body involved. They need embodiment, not just theoretical insight. Contrary to what morality teaches us, sexuality and spirituality are not different. Eros and psyche are deeply connected. And when this connection is honored, things starts moving much faster. And third, what has been hidden in your psyche cannot simply be managed forever. It has to be brought into consciousness because that's where the shift begins. All of these principles ultimately move you towards the same destination, that is integration. An integrated man is a man who is powerful without trying. An integrated man is a man who commands without performance. An integrated man is a man whose sexual energy fuels his expansion instead of distracting him from it. If you're still watching, it's because something in you is already being called. the descent has already begun. Maybe you can feel it as restlessness that success hasn't solved. Maybe it shows up as quiet hunger, a sense that something in you is still unmet. Maybe it feels like the old ways of managing yourself, your desire, your power are no longer enough. That's how it starts. Not always with a crisis, sometimes with a whisper, a pressure, and knowing that there's more of you waiting beneath the surface. And that matters because the kind of transformation that I'm talking about is the kind you want as soon as possible, of course. Hello. Because the earlier you learn how to use your sexual energy to expand yourself, the more time you have to actually live from that expansion, the more time you have to build from it, to love from it, to lead from it. If you feel called to explore this work further, visit our website and submit your expression of interest under the tab Apply. Once I have reviewed your application, I may invite you to a courtesy call with me so we can see whether this and you are, of course, a match. While you wait, here's what I invite you to do to get you moving forward with this. The next time you find yourself in post-nut clarity, in those 20 minutes when your mind is no longer enslaved to your sexual energy, you are to ask yourself, if I could go into my underworld and rescue what has been missing, what would I find down there? And why would that make a difference? Remember, my love, the value that I bring to you is what I can stir in you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.